Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are here today on the show. The ticker is a ticking on the bottom of the page. We got the Deathridge hat on. We got the Prime Composite Innovation logo on this. Everything's going right today. Everything is going right. But the one thing that may be going wrong is how crazy some of these kangaroos are acting down there in the land of down under. And we're not just talking about the one that apparently attacked Carson Macedo. We're going to get the down low on this with somebody who's on the grounds. But we are talking here today with none other than the new 2025 World of Outlaws Rookie of the Year contender, Garet Williamson. Garet, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I'm here, Chaz. Nice to talk to you again.
Yeah, we've talked for a long time. I think actually we were just talking there for a minute before we came onto the airways. I think we were drunk as hell at Dingus one night this last year. I think it was during Knoxville. Obviously, drunk as hell and Dingus goes hand in hand, right? I mean, we ain't gonna. I mean, that's just reality.
They don't sell alcohol there.
Well, Corgliano's has that nitro pizza or whatever. You know, I tried that for the first time. I don't know if you've had that pizza before. It's pretty crazy.
I've never heard of it.
Corgliano's is that pizza place, right next to Dingus.
Yeah. But what's the nitro pizza? I haven't heard of that.
Oh my God, I didn't know what it was either. They were watching the show like 3 weeks ago. I kind of stationed out of Knoxville most of the time. And he was like, you got to come over. We were talking about eating something hot. He's like, try this nitro pizza. And it's like some pizza that I guess PA posse members made up back in the day and some other guy. And it's supposed to be this pizza that just burns you to death. And it was pretty bad. They got like.
Was it hot?
Yeah, apparently they got like serrano peppers in the mix. I guess they probably got some ghost peppers in there. They layer it with pepper. It is definitely.
Jesus.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's what I was saying after about 3 bites. But anyways, I think it was Knoxville week when I went up to you. I was like, "So you're going Outlaws, huh?" And so this had kind of been outside, I guess, of the fan base, but the behind the scenes or in the know, whatever kind of people you want to call it. This had been a decision that y'all had been making or trying to make happen for a while. It seemed like. But it hadn't been released. What was it? Was it sponsorship deal? What was the delay on this? What made y'all want to do it? Kind of mix all that into one a little bit.
It was always like, so obviously I came this past year is my first year with them. And when they decided to build a team, you know,
you're talking about the Fisher Motorsports?
Yes. Kurt and Devin and the whole family. Yeah, this was their whole plan eventually, was to build a team to go run the Outlaws, or whether it be high limit, either one. But yeah, that was always the plan starting. And, you know, this year was kind of our building year, and obviously it's still going into next year. We're building. It's a fresh team. I mean, this time last year, we didn't have a single wrench in the shop. So it's literally been a start from scratch deal. So yeah, it was kind of the plan to try to build for this. And then, you know, obviously, every team needs funding, and especially a first second year team is really in need of it. And we didn't secure as much obviously as we are wanting, but you know, they kind of they're taking the chance and kind of putting it in my hands to perform, and you know, try to go do it the way it should be. You know, performance is kind of how you land big sponsors, and that's what people want to be a part of, and that's my job as a race car driver, is to go do that. So you know, I'm really looking forward to it, and I think it's the right step.
Well, and I think that's an interesting point you kind of bring up. I think most people assume, and even you as a driver, you just said it, you know, performance equals sponsorship. Is that the case, though? Sometimes, you know, you're in this Rookie of the Year. I'm just going to be blunt with what most of the internet said the other day when the news came out. You're in a Rookie of the Year battle going into next year with a guy like Chris Windom, who, I mean, I personally think you've had more success than him, but he's had a big-time sponsor for the majority of his career over the last several years. I mean, obviously non-wing, he deserved it. But in wing racing, it's definitely not been a performance-based sponsorship, especially on the magnitude of NOS. Uh, did you? Is it 100%? And I guess this is more so the question here, not really trashing on Wyndham or anything, but is it performance equals sponsorship? Because it doesn't seem like it is always.
Yeah, I think to some extent, but also people build relationships and people value those relationships, and you kind of build that relationship, and if whoever it is making that person happy and they're doing good for that company, I think performance can kind of get put on the side, and if they're still just doing what they need to be doing to benefit, the sponsor of the product, then I guess you can look at it that way too. But I think there's no doubt that performance can outweigh that. If you're winning, people like to be a part of a winning team.
Definitely. Well, and that was kind of the shocker. You said you had got with this Fisher team this year, and I was actually going down your Garet Williamson page here trying to find some 23 or 2023, which would have been your 24 car racing season. I remember being at Knoxville.
Yeah, I think you made a video about that week.
Yeah, I mean, I was there when you basically was like, team's closing. Don't know what I'm doing, and I was like, what? I was in the damn pitting area, I was like, all right, well, we got to do an interview right now. I think that's how that actually happened, because I walked up to you and you were kind of, disgruntled. And
that
rightfully,
was during Monday night.
Yeah, exactly. Rightfully so, though, because back to performance equals sponsorship, you had relatively performed well in the 24. That's where you got your top 3 against the Outlaws, I believe, wasn't it?
Yep, and that was kind of a different deal. That obviously that team's closed up now, and there was just there's more to that than just racing, and obviously ended up the closing doors of that, and it was a stepping stone, and obviously that did me a lot of good, and I'm always be grateful for the ride, and it's got me to where I am to now. But that sucked. But without that door closing, obviously one door closes, another one opens. So as long as you're there to make the most of it, and you always have people surrounding you that have your best interests, and I think that's all you can really do for yourself.
Right. Well, I'm just fascinated on being able to go on some of these people's racing pages and look back at seeing where they came from. I mean, if you go to Garet Williamson Racing on Facebook, for instance, you can scroll back to what is this red and black car? What year is this?
Red and black sprint car?
Yeah. Well, it's all destroyed
that would have
right
been
here. Looks like that's not.
That would have been probably 2022.
Okay.
And then if you keep going, it'll be 21, and that was my first year running AS. Or I ran that year, and the year before that was my first year. I think 2021 was my first full year running sprint cars. The year 2020, I ran like 4 shows, I think.
And that was that solid black car, and then black blue.
Yep. Yeah, the black and gold one was the first one, and then the next year was the blue one, the blue and white.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. So what did you run before that? I did notice, I guess you rented out a Dolby midget one night or two or a few.
That was one night with McIntosh. Yeah, I ran that once at Sweet Springs. Ran that one time. Besides that, I ran micros at Sweet Springs locally and would run it like 10, 12 times a year. So I obviously didn't have the upbringing of what kids do now, or even when I was racing, of running 50, 60 to 80 shows a year in a micro and all over. I ran a micro at Sweet Springs, and that was kind of it.
So that is crazy. I know we just jumped a lot from 24, 20, that car, this car. But I guess there's a picture of you in Victory Lane. So you were a winner back then, even as a kid.
In the micros, early on in my micros, yeah, I feel like we were pretty good, and then got older and funding wasn't quite there, and we kind of just raced for fun, and it was just a weekend thing. I obviously still always loved it and wanted to win, but it just wasn't in the cards for me to have the best equipment then and be able to compete at a high level. So we just kind of did it for fun, and I always wanted to keep doing it, but didn't know how, and kind of did whatever it took to keep racing.
Wow. So you're saying your first year was 2020 in a sprint car, full size?
Yeah. 2021, I think. 21. It was a COVID year.
So that's pretty crazy.
That was COVID year. The last year, ASCS went to California.
Okay. So that is a pretty crazy string here of relatively a guy who didn't come from money. What you're saying, your budget, personal family budget, it sounds like ran out at micros at Sweet Springs, correct?
I mean, yeah, that was like probably when I was like 12 is when we kind of really when I ran junior sprints and restrictors, and we were really good through then. And then kind of after that, it was just slowed down and just became more of a family hobby. And me and my cousin raced.
Wow. And so what?
And it was just kind of a.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and we just kind of raced for fun, and then I kept wanting to do it and found different things to go do to keep racing.
Well, and I'm assuming you had to win when you got opportunities. That was a big deal.
I really never ran anything besides our own micros, but we would have good runs here and there. And then then that first year in the sprint car, we were, fairly decent for not running a sprint car, and it was with ASCS the full year. I think a few podiums, top fives and stuff, and won at some weekly shows at Lake Ozark.
Nice. Was that a family car, or was that a ride you got?
No, that was a ride. That was the 24.
Okay.
That was the first year of the 24.
Okay. So that 24 team.
Yeah, that was my first ride.
Okay. So that 24 team in general basically took you into sprint cars up until last year.
Yeah, they had never been around. He had never been around sprint cars before then.
Wow. And I guess you had good success in the car.
I worked for his I just worked for his company and always pestered him to, buy a race car. And there was a sellout, I think in Eldon. I think it was I can't remember whose sellout it was, and we bought it that weekend and went and raced a national show at Lake Ozark and we were running eighth, and the rear end blew up the first night with ASCS. I think we won our heat race and rear end blew out of it, and that was my first night in a sprint car.
Wow. Of course, it's ASCS, but ASCS, I would say, was a little more stout back then, even though it's been a few years.
Yeah, I feel like that was like kind of the end of it being pretty good. There were some good drivers that would hop back in and out of it.
Wow. See, I never knew that 24 team actually went all the way back to basically your sprint car beginning.
Yeah, that was my first sprint car ride was in that. I ran that until last year.
Obviously we hear the stories all the time. You could throw money at a race car, but unless you got the team around you to go to the front, you're kind of going to be screwed. I mean, this 24 team had to be pretty damn good to run top three with the Outlaws at Knoxville, perform well at Knoxville and Husets in the 410 levels like it went to. But this team and you is literally, when we're talking about these runs, that's in 3 years' time, correct?
Yeah.
So
yeah, that like for racing for me at a high level, the last 3 years is really what the extent of racing at a high level is for me and running big races.
But heck, you said it was your first time in a sprint car 3 years ago, basically.
Yeah, and that was the first year I ran over 20 races, probably my whole life in a season.
Wow, that's a big jump. Who was behind who was turning the wrenches on that 24 to get it going so fast, so quick? Because that's a big part too.
The first year I had Chad Seifert, which is actually my crew chief again now, and then in between, we kind of went from just me working on it by myself with a tire guy. And then we did that for a few months. And then last year I had Dennis Moore Jr., which is actually my girlfriend's dad, which Dennis is a Hall of Famer in Knoxville and won 360 Nationals. And that's who I had all last year. And we went really good all of last year. And then he worked for me pretty much all of this year. And then obviously he's old and he was over being up and down the road. He kind of just did it for me as a favor and knew how much I wanted to race, and he saw that and wanted to help me get to the next step, and he's done that. So now it was the whole year, this whole past season, we kind of were looking to try to find someone to fill him, and he was part of he was wanting to turn the wrenches over to someone that had the best interest in me, and that was obviously I get to go back with Chatty now, and that's huge for me. I've always loved working with Chatty. He's one of my best friends, so I think going back with him is going to be huge. That's kind of where it all started with him, and we always worked good together and kind of got separated, not on our terms.
Yeah, and they say a lot, and I've witnessed it. I think that probably a lot of people say driver or crew chief, which one's more important. I think that chemistry overall
Chemistry.
is
Yep.
number one. I've been in so many damn pitting areas, and if I go up to a pitting area, you could kind of when the relationship between the driver and the crew chief is off just a little bit, it's almost like the feelings in the air.
Yeah, and then fingers get pointed, and then it just kind of falls apart.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like you don't even need the car to go on the track to know it's going to run bad, because the feeling in the pitting area,
Yep.
it's like the car is almost taking on the personality of that aura that's in that relationship,
Yeah.
So it is very important.
100%.
I mean, you could take a really badass crew chief and you put them with the driver that don't know how to react to them. And let's be fair, there's hothead crew chiefs that fit. Certain drivers are okay with, the crew or the coach, for instance, that grabs them by the collar and says, get out there. But some other drivers don't react to that. They maybe grew up in a respect era. And then there's some, and vice versa. If a crew chief's just a little too soft-spoken, some drivers who want that coach to grab them and slam them in the car, that they're not going to react well.
Some of them want fired up.
Yeah, they want that
makes some guys drive better.
Yeah, I mean, so how do you think this chemistry with you and this I guess this is an old friend coming back kind of story for you in a way?
Kind of. He's been, obviously, when he wasn't with me, he's worked for plenty of teams, and he's been doing it his whole life. So, yeah, but he's from the same place. We're both from Missouri. He's from Jeff City. I'm from Columbia, so that had a big role into it too. But yeah, I don't know. I think more of a friendship was bonded, and we seem to communicate really well, and both have the same interests. And really being on the road for the first year of like racing and kind of just being exposed to everything, he was the one that kind of showed me everything. And like, I don't know, the road life, basically, that's who I kind of like went away from home is with him. And now it's kind of learned to live on the road was with him. So you kind of get close to people living with them that long and being stuck in a toter or hotels every night. If you get along, you kind of just build a relationship. So.
Right. Well, and I think friendship's a big deal. Some people don't want that, especially in today's society. It feels like, crew members are hard to get, for one.
Yeah.
But drivers and crew chiefs are hard to get as well. If your driver and your crew chief aren't getting along, that puts the owner who's footing the bill on the whole damn situation in a predicament, because then you're trying to place whose value is worth more,
Yep, and then it kind of gets ugly from there. And obviously word spreads quick in our sport, and one finger will be pointing one way and others the other way. So, we seem to work really good together, and we can kind of tell each other anything, and we know the crossing the line, and I think we can both be really blunt with each other, and it's not a kind of step on each other's toes or conflict. We just both want to win.
Now, did he create the term siping attire?
No, I don't think he did.
It wasn't him that created this idea? Are you sure?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I'm just making sure. I thought Sammy Swindell did it. I mean, that's who I thought started siping tires. Apparently, there's a true story about that where the old sprint car drivers, they used to just take drag tires and kind of groove them out, and I think the story goes Sammy Swindell went to Indianapolis and bought some Goodyears and was doing it, and the owner of Goodyear was there and was like, "What the hell are you doing, kid?" And then that is when Goodyear got into making dirt purpose-built sprint car tires, actually, funny enough. But
I had no idea about that.
That is, I believe this is the true story. Obviously, I'm too young to know or be around for that.
Yeah.
But that's good to know that you got a relationship, because this tour deal, even though I feel like, and I think some people underestimate this, when you're full-time racing like you were at Knoxville and Husets and stuff, you're not necessarily on the road 24/7. But you're not at the porch like someone in PA may be. Your life is kind of on, because we're talking about you're down there in Missouri. Missouri to Husets, that's about a 10-ish hour drive?
Well,
where are you at it?
I lived in Knoxville this past year.
Okay.
That's where the race team was, but that was because obviously I worked on it and was part of it.
Right.
But obviously, now whatever, we're back in Missouri with the whole race team. But yeah, even like last year, I mean, we would go on the road and we wouldn't be home for a month, or still we're racing 3 or 4 times a week, or we're running somewhere Friday, go back to Knoxville Saturday, and the 6 hour drive back up to Houston Sunday. So you kind of stay there Monday or make it home Tuesday or whatever. So you're really always doing something, or always traveling, or always in a hotel. So yeah, you are on the road a lot, and it gets hard, and that's when just it creates so much stuff because everyone's tired, wore out, and people like sleeping in their beds.
Right. And see, I think that's really one of the interesting things about the Midwest versus a Pennsylvania or even a West Coast is unless you're just a Knoxville local or a Husets local, if you're one of those people, I'm not talking about you, but that seems to be the name of the game. Those people get the attention. But if you're anyone else trying to run 410 sprint cars in the Midwest, you got to get ready to travel, and you got to get ready to move, and you got to get ready to go wherever you can go to attempt to make it.
Yeah, there's a lot of racing around here, but obviously you got to drive and you got to go to the right shows. So, yeah, I mean, one of the weekends we won Husets, I can't remember. I had the miles in my phone, but we started, I think, Friday at Lake Stark in Missouri, drove up Saturday to Knoxville, ran Knoxville, and then Sunday we drove all the way up to Husets to race. So I don't know how many miles it was, but that was, such a long weekend, but that's what we had to do, or not what we had to do, but like that's what had that would be the best interest for us to go race. So that's a lot of miles. No sleep for really anyone. But yeah, that's, if you want to make it and want to be on the road, that's the closest thing you can kind of do to get that same feeling.
Well, when you think about the road life that you're going to have to endure, sounds like you got a decent relationship with the crew chief. That's one main gig. Are you going to look at that more so like, well, at least I'm driving all these miles and seeing something new? Even though you're not working in a shop, I'll admit this. I've been in the parking lot with the guys, on the tour when I'm up and down the road and hanging out with them. And I have to say, it might be a little more pleasant of an environment to be working on your sprint car in a parking lot with giant mountains in the background and the scenery than it is the same old damn shop with the same old door and the same old. So there's have you thought about that aspect as well? Because it is a daunting task. People do make it sound, and there are some very grueling aspects to the road. And I think you got to almost kind of look forward to the non-traditional ways of doing things to accept it.
Yeah, no, obviously we all have our places that we all like to go, and there's the places where you look forward to the year, or the stops where you're going to go work at that has something fun to do, or a good restaurant. So yeah, there's always the places you look forward to, and obviously I'm fresh to it, so I don't know about everything or haven't seen them all, but the places I do, there are certain places that I have circled in the year that are fun to go to or drive through, or there's always something to do or something to go hang out with.
What's a place you're thinking you're going to go to that you haven't been to potentially that you're looking forward to, like just an area, not a racetrack, but an area?
I haven't been to New York. I think the farthest I've been is PA, so New York will be cool. Kind of go do some other stuff while we're out there besides race. I'm sure go downtown New York, and then Canada obviously will be cool. I have Dylan Westbrook. He's one of my good buddies. In my first year running ASCS, he was on there, so I look forward to going up there and hanging out with those guys. So there's always, like I said, there's always something you can look forward to go do.
Did you race a 360 in Canada yet, or no?
Nope, I haven't been up there at all.
Okay, you haven't been up there. Yeah, Niagara is a very interesting. No. Obviously, Niagara Falls, I believe, is where the area you are going to be crossing there outside of Buffalo. I've actually been there because I raced a big block in New York, or a sportsman, whatever, the big block cars up there. So, but they did say, I went to the Niagara Falls viewing on the USA side. They say the Canada side is just so much damn better. It's unbelievable.
Really?
Yeah, so that's got to be something you're looking forward to, monuments, things like that. What about some tracks? I know you've seen the schedule. It's hard to really place your driving style into a category, because being a Missouri guy, you would think somewhat of a short track. You say Lake of Ozark. I've been to Double X Speedway. You know how much of a bull ring that damn place is, like a mini Williams Grove. But then you
Yeah.
excel at Knoxville.
Yeah.
You win at Husets. You have, it seems like you got this bull ringer mentality, but then you're able to IndyCar it on these big half miles. What is your style, or
Yeah,
is
I
it
think
just anything and everything, and that's what you got to be?
I think anything and every. I think luckily that I never my first 2 years racing or first three, it was on with ASCS, so I never really had a home track. It was always somewhere different, and never really got to go anywhere at the same time. And I think the first time I ran something weekly was at Knoxville in the 360 and 410 last year. So that was the first time I've ever been somewhere all year, really. And obviously, we still traveled a ton. So, but that was the closest thing I had to going somewhere consistently. And then I don't know. I think I look forward. I love Husets a lot, Knoxville. So those two places I always enjoy going to. I-55 I really enjoy. We go good there.
But that's a plethora of different racing facilities and shapes and sizes. Almost just thinking about your path, how you got this opportunity and had to make the most of it if you wanted to make something of it. I think that and I say this about the California people because they're dying to get out of California so bad. Anytime they get an opportunity, they don't hesitate, and hesitation loses a lot of races in today's age. And whether that's hesitation to make a move or hesitation to believe in yourself, entering the corner, and no matter what shape it is, it seems like maybe that element of you having to do it to make this happen also plays a part into your versatility and being able to race on different tracks, because no matter what it is, you got to find a way to make success with it.
Yeah, I think there's definitely something to do with that there, you always, obviously I don't have family backing, so you kind of got to figure out how to perform or you're going to get lost and no one's really going to care about you pretty soon. So if you're not performing, then you kind of get forgot about pretty quick. So that's how I always looked at it. If I didn't like it, you kind of got to figure it out because you're going to be back here at some point. So got to figure out something to go good there.
Well, and you can't have a favorite track when you got to win,
Yeah.
I mean,
you mentioned Lake Ozark, that's home, but I think the last 2 years it's been one of my shittiest racetracks. I got my first sprint car wins there, and then I just fell apart. I don't know. I love going there because that's where all my family, I get to go see everyone, and I just go shit there. So I don't know what the deal is there.
Well, what's the deal with Missouri racing in general? Obviously, you've grown up there. You've only been there for 3 years, so it's hard to even talk to you about any kind of history there. I mean, you're relatively new to the big car racing there. I mean, Missouri does have some good tracks, but outside of Lucas Oil and Lake Ozark, facility-wise, there's not much to talk about,
Yeah. There's a lot of really cool tracks here. I don't know. It is
Double
obviously
X,
I-70. That's a double X. There's a lot of really cool places with some history behind them, but the sprint car scene at home is kind of really sad, honestly. Like the first few years right before I kind of got racing sprint car, we'd go to the lake and there'd be 40 cars there. And even the weekly stuff was insane. And then like I got into sprint cars and everything just kind of fell apart. And it's kind of sad because there were so many good places to go. A lot of big races were there. And now it's just kind of, there's nothing. We don't have any weekly sprint cars at home. Yeah, I don't think, High Limit goes to the lake this year, I believe.
Right.
So I guess there is one show there, but I think they're redoing the track there. So.
Well, you are making a pretty good point. It seems like that would be post-COVID, the area you're kind of talking about. But nationally, it seems like we have more cars, but regionally, for sure, it's like the smaller got smaller and the bigger got bigger after COVID. The national scene maybe
kind of fell apart.
Exactly, yeah. The lower funded teams went away.
Yeah, I think some of that has to do with like the pay at tracks, I would assume. I don't like our big week like Knoxville. It's one of the best weekly payouts. Same with Husets, but I think it's harder for smaller tracks like maybe a Double X or Lake Ozark to kind of contend with that. So it's hard to fund a car with all the prices. Obviously, are sky high with any kind of racing now, and the big tracks kind of stepped up their game to compete with that. But it's kind of harder for a smaller track to keep up with that.
Well, and especially you're talking about Knoxville. I mean,
they had the biggest race of the year to kind of.
Well, exactly. That's a big one. But if you look at their weekly attendance, It can be a ghost town sometimes there
Yeah,
at a weekly event. You
but I
know
think
this. I mean,
yeah, but the 2 weeks of nationals
mhm.
kind of I think offsets all that, and that's why they can offer what they do, and it's one of the and I think Dirt Vision obviously helps with that, and a Lake Ozark doesn't have a huge race in the year to kind of cover the weekly expenses, so I think that's where you kind of see some of those tracks not be able to keep up with it.
Right. And if they're going to try to have a sprint car race, why do weekly stuff? Why not just save all the money you can and book a high limit
Yep.
or World of Outlaw show and try to home run, you know?
Yep, exactly. And I think that's kind of what they all look to do now. It's a little bit easier to try to just get one big show, and then, obviously at home they still have all the modifieds and street stocks. They run those weekly, but I think that's a little bit different, obviously.
Yeah, that's definitely a different situation altogether
Yeah.
when it comes to weekly racing in general. But you're coming from that. What other tracks did you actually get to hit some laps on more often? Did you ever get over to IRA country? Because Wisconsin's getting some big
Yeah.
runs this year. Cedar Lake, to me, is one of the best racetracks in the country.
Yeah, I love watching Cedar Lake. I am excited to go there. I always watch the Outlaw show there, and it's always good. Now, besides, we went somewhere there with the Outlaws, I thought, that in Wisconsin this year.
Wilmot?
You can remember what it was?
Beaver Dam?
Yeah, I went to both of those. Beaver Dam was badass. We went there. We had that makeup show there too
Okay.
with Outlaws. I ran that, and then the one that rained out, I ran the Friday night of that, and we went back to Knoxville for Saturday. But yeah, I guess I ran those two. That had a lot of people at them, and those were really good racetracks.
Definitely. Was there, not to make too much of a change, but I am curious to know, was there a question mark on High Limit or World of Outlaws, or is that not even a question mark?
No, we definitely had them both circled of what we could do with both of them, and which one we wanted to pick, and they kind of left that up to our hands to pick what we thought. And I don't picking the Outlaws. It's nothing. I don't have anything. I love running. Like, people that run High Limit are great. I have a lot of friends throughout the group and people that race it, so there's nothing wrong with it. I thought just the Outlaws would benefit us and what we were doing better.
Something that I've been hearing
more of the racetrack.
Something that I've been hearing in the background that's making a decision for a lot of these people to go the outlaw route, and I don't know if it played a part with you, but obviously payouts aren't making the biggest money in the world. Sponsorship's probably a slow second. Third's probably number one over everybody's probably streaming. Just that cookie jar is hard to get your hand into. Obviously, Flo's trying to make some kind of thing with the charter system to where the teams can get their hand in that cookie jar. But one of the bigger deals for the driver, probably one of their biggest cookie jars they got outside of performing, is merchandise. And from gathering what I've been gathering, it seems like the notion is if you're a race team or driver and you want to go on a tour, you're going to have a hell of an easier time selling merchandise at a World of Outlaw event than you are at a High Limit event. Is there any truth to that? Or have you heard the same thing?
I had actually, on David's show, I was watching that the other night with him, Tyler, and Wyndham, and they had brought that up, and I hadn't really even thought of that or paid attention. But after hearing about that, and that could be a huge factor. And I think it was either Chris or Tyler saying that they had almost all 18 guys at the T-shirt trailer at the track for all the races, and that obviously I'm sure that hurts their sales. All of their guys have shirts, to buy, and there's only X amount of fans that can spend X amount of dollars.
Right, and then you throw Larson in there for a good chunk of it, and there goes 75% of your income.
There goes everyone's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the main reasons that the Outlaws and Tony Stewart had their beef was, they wouldn't let Stewart set up his T-shirt trailer when he was racing at Volusia one year, and that caused a big stir. And, I mean, the business on that was, we've all been to these sprint car races and we see Kyle Larson's T-shirt trailer.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, it's like watching, free women on one side and free men on the other, and the women line is full. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not even funny how much he crushes it when he's in the building.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it is crazy. Now, I will give late models, late model industry. I've seen that Larson trailer next to their guys, and they crush him just as much. It's actually,
Really?
oh yeah. See,
That's kind of surprising.
I'm under the belief factor that that's the one thing late model racing has over the sprint car industry is the late models industry's Kyle Larson, top level must buy, must see guys are late model drivers. They're not Tony Stewart's, they're not Cole Trickles, I call them, or Kyle Larson's. They are their drivers.
I think they have to me almost more fans, but I think it's more relatable to a lot of people. There's more late models throughout the country, and more people can relate to them in a way that their Uncle Jimmy ran one or their brother has one, or there's more people that have them, and they pack the stands full of their cousins and families.
Well, are you trying to say that they have some cousin thing going on, like Arkansas, or what do you mean?
No.
Are you making fun of the fender fuckers?
I did slip an extra cousin in there. I didn't mean to, but I'm giving them actual. They do pack the stands, and I think they do kill it with fans at the racetracks. They have a lot of people, and you like look at the dome. I mean, the dome. I think most of all of us open wheel guys are jealous of that. Obviously, we have Chili Bowl, but racing inside of a dome is pretty cool.
Well, I think the one thing that, and I would like to lead off and come back and say, what do you think about sprint cars at the dome? I think everybody would love sprint cars, I think.
Yeah.
And for those who say the track's too small, though,
non-wing.
But hold on now. They run, Placerville ain't no damn bigger than that track.
Yeah, but I'm talking with a catch. They would just have to do catch fence work. I think you get a wing car and they're going a lot faster, and end over end, it's clearing that thing.
Well, they need a proper catch fence. I think they learned their lesson this year. They never had a car go out, and they had two or three go out this year.
Yeah.
So
I think if they just got some taller catch fences and sturdier, they could do a sprint car race with no doubt. I don't think size is a problem. I mean, what's Circle or not Circle IMS? I mean, that can't be much different in size.
Well, and then obviously a couple years ago they did the race at Action Track USA, the Sprintacular.
Yeah.
And that is small.
Yeah, and
that Gateway track's not small. It looks small on camera, maybe, but it's not small.
No.
If you could fit fucking late models 3 wide around there, you could fit sprint cars 4 wide.
Yeah, exactly. It looks way bigger than like you're saying. You look at pictures how wide it is. It's huge.
Right. I think the cars, the big late models, just make the track look that small.
Yeah.
Me
if
being
you can
there,
get late models racy.
Yeah.
And
I think wing would work. I think you add. I think when you add a little more speed to the situation, because they banked the track this more. I think that, or a little more this year. I think that's why the racing was better. But I think when you add a little speed to these smaller tracks, you can race a little bit more. I feel like with the non-wing, it'll be too stop and go. Whereas with the wing, I think it could carry more momentum. I think it would be up on the top. Probably be hard to pinch them around the bottom, but I think wing racing in there would be jets in a gymnasium, literally, So.
Yeah, I think it would be good. The only reason I said non-wing was just as a catch fence issue. If they got something in there with a catch fence, and no doubt about it, they would be able to get whatever they wanted in there. But I don't know how much those guys necessarily want. I don't think any of those guys really want midgets back or even sprint cars. I think they kind of want their own deal.
Yeah, there is a real divide there.
It is. It kind of started to get better with Kyle, and now I think it's kind of just went away.
I always feel, though, when it comes to the divide of sprint cars and late models, it is 80% late model fans just hating sprint car fans more so than the other way around. I don't run into a lot of sprint car people who say, "Oh, fuck them late models." But I run into a lot of late model people who say, "Screw them push and flips." I mean, I hear that a lot. It seems like there's a lot of late model hatred to sprint car racing.
Yeah, I don't know why.
You've experienced this firsthand? They slapped you or something, or beat you up, or?
Yeah, they just fucking kick us and tell us we're shit. And no, I've never had any firsthand, but I have heard of, like, I think you kind of, or you hear it throughout the crowd. You just kind of hear the talking, or bitching and moaning. You kind of hear things like that just walking around and listening.
Takes them an hour and a half to get a main done. You know, they ain't got no starters. You got to push them all off. Pushing flips. That's the nickname.
Yeah. Yeah. Pushing flips. Yeah. And they got mud turtles.
Yeah, exactly. I think the one.
No, but I don't mind watching them.
No, I don't. I think crossover drivers are hard, though. You know, we saw Ricky Thornton Jr. try to get into a wing car. I mean, it didn't go bad, but it didn't go good. I think you could get wing. I think when you slow down, it's a lot easier than when you're speeding up.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, I mean, I think that's the big issue with non-wing drivers getting used to wing cars is not only the driving characteristics, but shit's just happened so much. It's happening so much faster.
Speeds up.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
difficult to where I feel like, you know, obviously the Mopar Million was won by Jack Hodenschild, and that was like his second or third non-wing race. I think Stevie Smith finished second. I think when you slow down, you can learn what to do way easier than speeding up. Even if it was a wing guy going to late models, you know.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm rambling now. I do think the one thing that does kind of detour a dome or even a winter sprint car race is Australia, which is where you are right now. I do believe you're running this 44 car. Hold on. I got pictures of it up here. Actually had a guy take some pictures of them. Picture of you, I guess. Hold on.
Oh, nice.
I'm slipping. It's Jason Beer, I believe, took a picture of you next to the car. That's the image we're using. But you have a damn kangaroo in the image of your shirt here.
Yeah.
Do you know anything to the Macedo story that's how he got injured was the kangaroo attack? Do you know anything about this?
They had kangaroo brawling. No, I have
a big red, as they say it. A big red got him.
Nope, I don't know too much about it, and obviously it's just not a good deal. I don't know the extent of it or how long it'll be out or if he'll be ready for Volusia. So I think I'm kind of pretty much in the same boat with everyone. It's kind of been put on the DL.
So who is this car owner that you're running for? Is that Avalon that we're looking at here? Y'all over there in the Geelong area?
No, we ran Premier this past weekend.
Premier, okay, that's Premier. That's the new dirt they got on Premier too. It used to be darker.
Yes, yeah. Yep.
How did that dirt actually run? Did you notice?
It was. You guys would have thought we were in California. It was rougher than any place we went in California all night. It was juiced up, hammered down, wheelies, biked up all night.
Well, probably people there didn't like that, I would assume.
No, there was a lot of complaining about it.
Well, and it is funny, something that was probably my biggest shocker about being in Australia last year. Maybe you've noticed it, maybe you haven't. Is there is a different culture with the sport over there. If the track's off and people complain, our promoters say, screw you, go race somewhere else. Most of the time it feels like. Where over there, they're like, we got to figure this shit out. Like, this isn't acceptable.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's very serious over there.
Yeah. I think everything, like how they run the meetings and like just the safety deals you got to do. And obviously got breathalyzed the race before I raced. And yeah, there's a lot of like safety item, or I don't know what the right word I'm looking for, but that you have to do. And then I don't like, well, I'm sure it's good, but how you got to sign up for each event and you got to be a part of different associations. That's different.
Well, you do know you have insurance, right? I mean,
yeah, I do have insurance. Yeah, I had to get a physical to come race. So like all that stuff, I think great. I think that's something we could probably do at home. That would be good.
Yeah, and that's because they have a governmental body that regulates.
Yeah.
Which is really an insurance situation, which obviously is that bad? I mean, we're hearing about the situation with Chase Johnson right now and the funding issues that they're dealing with over his incident. If a situation like this was in place in America, he would kind of have some coverage to the situation, default, you know?
Yeah.
And obviously, that's a big deal, I would assume. I mean,
yeah. There's Yeah, I don't know. It's just a lot different. They obviously, like you said, the government has a big deal with it. So I don't know how much I would like that, but I think the way they are doing things is good.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I was over there. Apparently, one year, Danny Smith went over there to race, and he got the whole membership, and it's good for a year. But he came back to
Yeah.
America and got into a wreck and was injured, and was able to use the insurance from his Australia Speedway license to cover
Really,
for
I'd
the
never
medical.
heard that.
Yes, because the
Holy
insurance
shit.
you have is it's an insurance basically agreement. You're paying for insurance, but it's worldwide. It's not just segmented to Australia.
Holy shit! I did not know that. That is pretty neat.
That's badass. That's what I'm saying.
That's pretty cool.
I know. Yeah, so you could come over here and race this year, and you get hurt during the outlaw season. You technically have some form of health-based racing insurance. Yes, just from your sign up.
I did not know that.
With Speedway Australia. Yes, correct. It's an insurance company thing. So learn something new every day from the dumbass Chaz.
Yeah, I guess so.
I swear. Have you seen any spiders or snakes yet?
No, and I don't want to. I'm not going out of my way. I said, I went to the zoo the other day. I seen some snakes in there, but no, I'm terrified of snakes. So I will not be walking around where I'm not supposed to be.
I'm assuming they told you about that huntsman spider by now, right? That's that big one.
Yeah.
You ain't seen that one yet?
No.
I've
heard all about spiders, though.
I didn't see one in person, but I did hear all about them. People showed me pictures, but I never saw one personally. I think I was lucky.
Yeah.
So you're going to be running this USA 44 car. Who is the people behind this machine while you're over there in Australia, and what's the schedule?
Tim Van Ginnigan owns it, and then obviously he has some partners. Clint Baker, I've got to meet him, be around him quite a bit. So, yeah, we run Speed Week starting Boxing Day, that Brant Speed Week that Wade's been promoting. And I'll just pull up the schedule and read it to you because I do not know it.
Oh, my.
If I can find it.
Horrible. This is why you don't have sponsors. This is why Chris Wyndham has better sponsors than you.
This is why he got NOS, because he knew his schedule.
Yep. There it is. That's it, kiddos. Listen up. No, I'm just playing. Apparently, if you win, you can go from, micros to World of Outlaws in 3 years. So just win.
Yeah. Just meet the right people.
Meet the right people and beat the right people, too. That's a big deal.
Yes, that helps, too. I think I have the schedule on my butt. Yeah, right here. So Murray Bridge, Thursday the 26th. Then we go to Tolmer, which is that new I-55 track over here, which I'm very excited for. Then we go to Borderline, Avalon, and then Premier again, and then Simpson, and that's our last. That's my last night before I fly home for Chili Bowl and come back, run Avalon, and then the Classic.
Okay. Yeah, my favorite track when I was over there was Borderline. I don't know if you see any.
Borderline.
It's a very beautiful facility. The facilities are nice, even though they don't have grandstands.
Yeah.
The facilities are top
Yeah, that's
tier.
weird.
There ain't one bad fence over there. It's illegal to have a bad fence. They actually have a track grading system, and if you don't grade high enough, you can't run sprint cars.
You can't race. Wow, I did not know that.
I
was surprised. I had to go pee one night and went to the bathroom, and they had people in there cleaning it through the night. I was like, holy cow, this is not like home.
It's a different level. I hate to say it. It's classed up over there. It just
it is.
It's classed up. I mean, if you're a fan and you go to buy a beer, they cut your pit pass off. I told Rico this last year. I said it's because they're not all the fans ain't all drunk. They're not all drunk. In the States, sometimes it seems like not everybody, but a good majority of the fans are just trying to find somewhere to go and get drunk on a Friday, Saturday night. It's not necessarily because they love the sport.
We get a bad rap for that, and that's why there's a bunch of rednecks going around in circles.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. The fan base is representing the sport, whereas over there, I mean, it's just not the case. It's just not. It's not being ransacked in a way. I could go on for days about this because it does bother me because I think our sport and setup is better. We have the money and everything to make it just as classy. But beer sales trump all. Beer sales trump all. Okay, so that's what you're doing over there. You said you are running the Chili Bowl.
Yep.
How do you feel about that? It seems like this year's Chili Bowl is going to be closest to the classic Chili Bowl that we're used to seeing. Larson back, Bell back. Um,
Yeah.
it is going to be a little bit different this year, it seems.
Yeah. I think, I don't know. I'm obviously not a midget guy. I don't go great in them, but I have fun, and I'm running for a really good group of group family. So I think that was the main deal. I said yes to it before any of the Australia plans were even a thought, really. So I didn't want to back out on that, and I do enjoy the people I'm going to race for. So it's kind of just a go have fun, hang out, and I'm in a really nice race car. So just a fun week besides the flight there and back to Australia.
That is a horrible flight.
That was miserable.
And if you're in the wrong row and the grandma and the kids are screaming, and I mean,
yeah, they can go bad quick.
yeah, if it wasn't for 3 movies I hadn't ever seen, I don't know what would have happened. The food's horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, in my opinion,
Yeah.
the food's horrible. My flight
Yeah.
back, I split it up. I went to Hawaii for a couple of days. I had to,
That's what I've heard a lot of people do, and they like that.
Well, I flew one way from Australia back to Omaha, Nebraska, to my car in the Midwest for about $600.
Oh, that's not bad.
It wasn't bad at all, and it was cheap. I stayed in a hostel. I jerry rigged it on the way back to keep it cheap, but it was definitely way more pleasant to do I think it was a 9-hour flight and then a 7-hour flight. That was way better than the straight 14 from LAX.
Yeah, definitely.
So, I know we got to get you out of here eventually. I do want to ask you this: do you think you're potentially representing any kind of area in this endeavor? Do you think you're representing Missouri? Do you think you're representing potentially Knoxville and Husets? There always is that there's always that representation. Guys from PAs representing PA. You're from the West Coast. You're representing NARC and all them. I don't know. I kind of figure like you're
or for Outlaws.
When you go to a national series, when you go to a national series from an area, and if I was to put you in any category, it would be a Knoxville Husets guy. It would be a Midwestern guy. I feel like you're the first guy, really, that's going on to the tour in a while that's from Knoxville in racing aspect.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I'd like to, represent Knoxville and Husets. I think that would be cool to do. Obviously you kind of wear that on your shoulder. I love racing in that area, and I feel like and kind of grew a fan base from there that I really do like to go back and see. So I don't know. Yeah, that's cool. And so maybe that, or from Missouri, I think the last one we had was Brown on Outlaws, maybe.
No, he never did. He never did. I kind of said that in the show the other.
A full year of it.
I think he did an ASCS year. I think that's the only tour he's actually done. He tried to do that midweek high limit tour.
Yeah.
And he fell off at Grandview. And I said that in the show the other day. I think honestly, Brian Brown, out of all the talent that's ever raced, a guy who probably should have went national racing for 1 year, that's going to be a regret for Brian Brown, in my opinion. Because he's probably the most winningest driver in any premier Wing 410 area region that didn't necessarily not go on the tour due to funding, but due to choice.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a
so
regret.
Hunter ran the All Stars, so I guess that would be the last one.
Kinda. Would you consider Schoenberg a Knoxville guy though? A Midwest guy?
I thought you just meant. I was just talking Missouri.
Missouri, okay. You're talking Missouri, okay. Well, then it would be Lasowski.
Yeah. Well, the most recent.
That's a list.
I think it would have to be Hunter.
But,
from Missouri that's ran a tour.
But not Outlaws.
A national. Yeah, not out. Yeah, the dude would be the last.
I think so.
One that's ran the Outlaws.
Yeah. So that's some big shoes. You're filling the shoes of Danny Lasowski, Garrett. You're from Missouri. made your little name here in the early stages of your career at Knoxville and Husets. This is Danny Lasowski. You're the new dude.
If I could.
That is a
The
great
new
dude.
dude,
I would take that right now. Put it on a shirt. I put Midwest Missile in here. The new dude, Garet Williamson. Dude, that is. Put that on a shirt. Watch it sell.
Put that on a. What's that? Going to put that on a cracker, dude?
Dude, that is it. But that's a very similar path, is it not? I mean, I know Danny spent way more years at Knoxville and Husets, but
Yeah.
it's a very similar profile description.
Yeah, well, if I can have half the success Danny did, I'll be pretty happy when I'm done racing.
Well, I mean, this is true. This is true. That
Yeah.
would be pretty cool to
That's
be.
some big shoes.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That would be pretty cool to be representative of that area.
Yeah, that is something big to me, is making where I'm from proud and kind of putting it, letting me, just coming from that area and, the track I grew up racing, Sweet Springs, I think representing that. There hasn't been anyone to come out of there I don't know who's came from there that kind of made it to a national series. So that's something big to me. And yeah, then obviously Knoxville and Husets.
Right.
Have played a huge part of my career, having success at those places. That's kind of what's put my name into the hat and on the map.
Well, and I guess if there was a team red and a team blue in that Knoxville, Husets area in the same age range that's kind of had similar success, I really like a Sammy to Steve kind of deal. You and Chase Randall kind of had a young gun rivalry, it feels like, over the last few years in that little region as well.
Yeah, so our very first year together racing was both of our first year was the same year on the national tour with ASCS. And then obviously we didn't race too much together the next year. Then we both ran for Knoxville 360. Well, he ran it the year before, and then I ran it the next year, and we raced each other for 360 and ran 1-2 for that. And we both ran double duty quite a bit for that.
Right, and you and him at Husets was always kind of who's going to get it,
Yeah.
it seemed like, too.
Yep, we've kind of ran her.
Of course, he was from a little bit farther south. Do you know any inside info on what he's going to do this year? That seems to be one driver that, should maybe take over. I was saying he should take over the Roth 83, but, I mean, that could have been anybody. But
I think that's staying in California is what I've heard. I don't know. I don't want to be starting rumors, so I don't know what I've heard, actually.
Hey, man, you're just thinking. You don't know nothing.
I'm sure you've probably heard. What have you heard, and I'll see if I've heard it.
I think you should just say what you guys say, Garet.
I don't know where he's going.
You're lying. You're lying to the audience.
I don't know actually where he's going. I've just heard a rumor where he could end up.
Well, then what's the rumor he could end up? It ain't like it's true. It's 100% rumor.
I've heard the Crouch car is what I've heard, but I don't know.
Really, the Crouch car?
Yeah. Well, no one's in it, so that would make sense to me. And it's the rumors I've heard, but who knows?
Well, and that was a very premier race car as well. Buddy Kofoid really flew in that race car. I know Brenham didn't go that great, but Brenham wasn't ever that great, I mean, he wasn't Kofoid level, at least.
Yeah, and he's young, so I think sending him to go learn with some new people, I don't know, that could help his career. And obviously, he's just young, so.
Well, it would be kind of, I guess I'm trying to say, if you're making this big jump to the national scene, I'm not saying I'm picking sides here, but I feel like Chase is left out if he ain't coming along with on one side or the other. If he ain't going to high limit, I feel like if there's chips being played here by the national tours, World of Outlaw raises us Garet Williamson, and they should raise us, high limits now needs to raise them a Chase Randall or something,
Yeah. I mean, I could definitely see him going to high limit, and I think that would, obviously we've grown up doing the same thing and ran the same time and had the kind of the same path. So obviously his younger career was a lot different than mine, but our sprint car careers have been almost the same.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely has. One thing I did want to ask you before we get you out of here, just over an hour. I know we did plan on keeping you all night long, all day long. It's what, 3:00 over there now?
Yeah.
What do you think about this Rookie of the Year? It seems like it's going to be this is, for me personally, this is an intriguing Rookie of the Year class. You,
Yeah, I think.
Wyndham, I
Go ahead.
mean, you got three pretty good drivers here that are just going to be interesting. I'm leaving out Cole Macedo because he's a part of the cartel. But Cole Macedo also in there. Who knows who could join? I mean, Chase Randall could still pop up somehow. I mean, we could have some new
he
guy
could.
pop in and say he's going to run it. You never know. But
Yeah.
just right now, three drivers that, Wyndham, I would put personally, winged racing, last in this ranking. You and Cole Macedo, though, I mean, Cole Macedo went through the gauntlet of West Coast racing. That's a very strong depth area. It's not easy, but he's getting into a car that we ain't seen really perform ever on a national scene. Same could be said for your car potentially, but it's been strong at least in a national scene recently. But this is a huge question mark, and I can't remember when I last looked at the Rookies of the Year, the competition, and actually being this intrigued. How are you looking forward to this? Because that's not some easy competition, Cole Macedo, or even Chris Wyndham, who's in an established ride with a notebook.
Yeah, I think it's going to be probably one of the best to me in recent years. I can't off the top of my head remember a year when there's been three guys running for Rookie of the Year that all have not quite a bit of experience, but have went good on with national tour runs and can go perform at a high level. So I think it's going to be whoever can keep it the most consistent through the year and not fall apart and have a bad month. So I think that's what we really are attacking, is just keeping good runs strung together and not falling apart.
Definitely. And down there at Volusia,
yeah, I can start it all right there.
Right. How do you think you're going to do down there? Are y'all planning to bring a 360 or something to get some laps on that track? I mean,
no, they don't even own one. I don't know. Obviously, I haven't been there. I think probably Chris has been there, and has Cole been there? Did he go in there? Maybe the 16 car?
Can't remember specifically. But I mean,
yeah, I know. I'm sure Wyndham probably has.
Right.
Either with USAC maybe too. But I don't know. I feel like we go decent at big tracks. I enjoy them. So I think we just can figure out practice night and qualify good. And I don't know. Going to new tracks really doesn't bother me too much. It's all I've really ever done. So just another track you got to get accommodated to quickly.
Well, and you even had a little bit of a couple race deal with the 39 Tron car in PA a couple races, didn't you? I think correctly off the top of my head, or no?
Yeah, I ran that once last year after that Charlotte race at Babs. I think I ran it for one weekend or one night actually. It was Saturday night.
Right. How much PA experience do you have off the top of your head? I can't remember personally.
I ran Baps that night, and then I ran the Grove. That's all I've ran.
That's it. So you haven't been on the boards of Port Royal yet?
Oh, yeah, I did go to Port Royal. I have.
I thought I seen you in a result.
Yeah, I have been there.
Okay.
But we don't even get to go there anymore, so.
Right, this is true. So you kind of have a little bit of an idea on most of the tracks, and I guess for the ones you don't, iRacing.
Yeah, I go to iRacing. Weed Sport, that'll be new.
That is an iRacing.
The Ohio.
Yeah.
The Ohio stuff. I ran PA or Ohio Speed Week my first or second year running sprint cars, and we just got our asses absolutely kicked. But those were like my first 410 starts, and we decided to go to Ohio Speed Week for them. So that was miserable. But I have seen some of those tracks, but it's been like 3 years, so that'll kind of just be going to somewhere new to me.
Well, no matter how the year goes, I mean, with your experience at Knoxville, going to the Nationals, some people would rather win Knoxville Nationals or just perform well at these bigger events. Husets and Knoxville have two of them. So it seems like no matter how the year is going, you at least have a few weekends that you could circle and be like, all right, this can make up for all the junk cars I put in the wall.
Yeah, hopefully not any of those. But, yeah, going to those two places, I have a lot of laps at both of them and tend to go decent at both of them most times. So I think Husets a little bit better than Knoxville this year. but I really enjoy both of them.
Right. Well, and obviously your RV was safe, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure. Just making
Uh-huh.
sure. Okay.
My
Well,
hotel room was. I didn't.
okay. Okay. Oh, you were safe. God protected you.
Yeah,
So
marked
much for
safe. Yep.
it was my birthday when that place got flooded.
Oh my goodness.
Hey, they want to let the Chaz in, they paid the price. Anyways. All right, is there anything else you wanted to say, or is this it? Your hour of fame is done on this plan.
Our fame. Well, I think that's it. Maybe the next time I talk to you will be after my first Outlaw win. That'd be neat. I've talked to you every time after some big announcements. Talked to you after my worst one and probably my biggest announcement. So
Yeah, this is big. And nobody else
yeah,
even asked you to come on the show.
I did no podcast. No, I haven't done any podcasts.
That's sad.
That's a shame. At least I got Chaz. Chaz is a real fan.
No respect. No respect for the poor guys. You didn't come from some big money name, so
just had to earn my respect the hard way.
Your family didn't even know how to spell Garet on the damn birth certificate. I mean.
Yeah, I know. I get that all the time. It's spelled wrong.
That's so fucked up. All right. Okay. Well, I mean, I guess good luck. I mean, you got to survive Australia first. Don't fuck around with them kangaroos like Macedo.
Yeah, don't get a boxing ring with some kangaroos. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I'll make it back home, and we'll be in Florida before we know it. I'm sure.
Okay. Well, thanks for calling in. Is there any websites people could go to? Is there any new merch, or is it only the Australia merch? Do you have a new paint scheme coming out?
Merch, right? Yes, we do. We'll have a new paint scheme. I think they're working on it right now. I haven't even got a proof of it, so it must not be done yet. And obviously, after that, I'll get some shirts made, and then I think I'd start planning on bringing a T-shirt trailer. Probably around that Oklahoma swing. I'll probably start bringing it. I don't think I'm going to take it to Volusia.
Okay, it's a little cheaper of a tow as well.
Yep, and probably not Texas either. Last year we ran Texas and rained out every night, so I don't want to get stuck down there with a T-shirt with my T-shirt trailer and a truck, paying fuel and staying at a hotel. So I'll wait till we start coming closer to home and the weather gets better.
Yeah.
But always you can shop online, or I'll have it at my trailer.
It's very understandable. Is there any kind of, obviously I heard there was a delay on your announcement due to a sponsorship. Is there still a question on if you could land a big sponsor, or is that it is what it is?
No, it is what it is right now. We always are working on talking to new partners, and obviously we're not a huge funded team. It's their family, they're funding all of it. So we have a couple really good core group of people that are partners on the car and help us a lot. So obviously we're always working to put new deals together that benefit us and their company, and trying to just get everyone involved.
So we're going to see the same color scheme, white car with the typical red and blue, or is there going to be any flash going on?
It won't be white body, I'll tell you that.
Oh.
But it won't, nothing crazy. It will be the same Fisher colors. Those will be the predominant colors on there. So
no gold chassis or anything?
No gold chassis, no.
Oh, chrome? Come on now.
Prime composite body.
It is going to be a prime composite body. You are trusting Prime with your ride?
Yep, Clyde's Missouri native and good family of the Fisher, or good friends of Fishers, and I'm friends with Clyde also, so it's pretty cool to represent or run his product, and we're right down the road from him.
It's crazy how he puts Kevlar in there. I don't know if you watched our episode where we went and filmed him actually put a piece together. He's got Kevlar in there. Not everybody does that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's got Kevlar in the carbon to make it even more durable in certain areas that you need it to protect you, Garet.
Wow,
it's all about you.
Protect me.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And now you're fully protected. You got a prime composite body and Australia insurance for the entire year.
Yeah, I'm good.
I mean, you're set to go. Your girlfriend that's going to be a fiance don't have to worry about you, right? Or is that never going to happen?
Yeah, I'm sure one day, not right now, but one day, yeah.
She's got to prove herself. I hear you.
Yeah.
Y'all been together forever. I don't know why it's not happened. I mean, if Tyler Courtney can get engaged, anyone can.
Yeah, something like that. I'll wait till I'm a little bit older. We might as well be married now. So.
Oh, that much control, huh? Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's what you want to call it.
Oh my God. Well, you're in Australia, so you're somewhat free, right?
No, she's here. She's selling merchandise for me and Marcus Dubsney out of his van, and we're kind of treated as a vacation. We have 2 or 3 weeks off here, or 2.5 weeks, so, and then hanging out with friends and going to do things and see cool sights.
It is a trip, and it's good to have somebody there with you too. She knows I'm giving a
Yeah,
shit.
I am excited.
I hope.
Yeah.
But yeah. What do you somebody wants to know in the chat before we get out of here, what do you think about the orbs and the drones?
The orbs? Oh, I don't know. I've seen it pop up on my Twitter every once in a while recently. I don't know. That stuff does kind of, trip me out. I think there's obviously a bigger stuff that goes on that we'll never know about. So there's always some weird stuff going on, and I think they do more than what we know or will ever know about.
Wow, so you believe in Illuminati, aliens and stuff?
I don't know. I think there's probably some aliens. I would assume there's probably an extraterrestrial life out there or something else that goes on. I don't know. There's some weird stuff that I think that we don't know about.
We distract ourselves with sprint cars.
Yeah, it's better that way.
Jeez. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for wasting an hour of your life with me, Garet. Hopefully it'll be worth it one
Thank
day.
you, Chaz.
Hopefully it'll be worth it.
Yep.
All righty. Well,
Okay.
good luck over there.
Yep.
All
See you soon.
Bye.
Yep.
Oh, he says, see you soon, ladies and gentlemen. What is the horrible chat doing? Oh, no. Yeah, I did spin that question, chat guy. I know you wanted to know what I think about the orbs. I've already talked about the orbs. I've already talked about all of it. I was curious on what Garet would think about that. Your newest 2025 championship contender with the World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series. That is going to be a hell of a trio, the triple threat, Wyndham, Macedo, and Garet Williamson. The Rookie of the Year battle is going to be a battle to pay attention to. If gravel stretches out that championship lead, like most people are saying, unless somebody like I think a Kofoid's going to be able to contend with gravel this year. Maybe Schatz has a revigorated career. Maybe Gio Scelzi. I hear everybody kind of saying that Gio Scelzi is going World of Outlaws. If that championship gets boring for the actual championship, I think this battle for the Rookie of the Year is going to be an entertaining championship all the way through. These are three guys who are high risk. Well, I would say Cole Macedo and Garet Williamson are not high risk, but they're willing to push the limits. Chris Wyndham, I see him ride around a lot, but that 7S car is used to riding around in the pack, so maybe they'll have some success in that kind of similar attitude to attack a racing event. And maybe they can stay smooth and consistent in the top 10, potentially, and battle for this Rookie of the Year with two guys like Macedo and Williamson who could shine and win or run third or fourth, but then also could push the limits a little too far and wad it up in the wall and have some 18ths and 20ths, and that's where the consistency of sides and Wyndham could potentially outdo Cole Macedo and Garet Williamson over the year's time. I'm a fan of Garet Williamson. Watched him do a lot of things out of the get-go. Me and Cole Macedo, we have our Snapchat relationship. We make fun of Carson all the time. In fact, half the jokes I make at Carson Macedo here on the show, Cole Macedo's the one telling me to do them. So, but I do think Cole can be good. That 2C car, I feel like if Cole Macedo, I think I heard Chase Rodman say it today, I feel like if Cole Macedo was in the Tarleton 21 full-time this year on the national tour, that the edge would go to Cole Macedo, but that 2C car is not necessarily killing the potential of Cole Macedo, but the projection of Cole Macedo and what he can do next year is being affected by him being in that 2C ride. So it's going to be interesting. There's strengths and weaknesses in all three of these Rookie of the Year contenders, and it's going to be a good one. Garet Williamson, obviously, here in his history there, this is a guy who his family budget ran out running micros in the middle of Missouri somewhere with the damn Amish. And we're not talking about the PA Amish who are sophisticated with the Mennonites. These are the real Amish. All they have is horse carriages. They don't even know how to build the nice stovetop dinners and stuff. They don't even have a Rudders or a Sheets. They're off in Missouri at Love's Truck Stops and the occasional Pilot. BPs and things. So, I mean, it's hard it's astounding that Garet Williamson went from a micro budget in Missouri to the World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series in just over 3 years. That takes a lot of talent. That takes a lot of, like we talked about, you can't have a favorite track. You can't wait for the next night. You got to make tonight work. And that's going to be that type of driving, that right there personally, that type of attitude as a race car driver, career-wise, is different than a Cole Macedo who has that ride security, that driver security, or even a Chris Windham who's got the financial backing that's been behind him no matter how he performs. So Garet Williamson's a guy where he's had to perform or he don't have no security. His security is in his performance. So that edge, I think, is going to play a factor throughout the entire next season in that in that Rookie of the Year championship chase. Looking at the chat, Dirty Larsonite says, I need some of that nitro pizza. Corgliano's, Knoxville, right across the street, next to the Dingus. If you come to the Knoxville Raceway next year, I might be doing some live shows from Corgliano's this next year. Y'all got to be paying attention to that. We may all be able to try some of that nitro pizza. We will see. We will see how that goes. But yeah, with that being said, I think Garet Williamson is kind of in the leaders bracket of this deal. I think that determination, that coming from nothing and having to be a dog that's going to eat, is going to work way better than the silk sheets and the fluffy pillows and smash cans of energy drinks. I'm just saying. That's what I'm saying. So it'll be interesting. Y'all go keep up with him. He's over there running in Australia. Garet Williamson Racing on Facebook, Instagram, all the social outlets you can find him on. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for the show. I want to thank Garet Williamson for coming on once again. It should be very entertaining. By the way, tomorrow we have been doing these Monday, Wednesday, Friday shows. I mean, we kind of covered all the topics, so I don't know if we'll have a show tomorrow, but we might. So stay tuned on the channel. Click the subscribe button. If you want to see your name scrolling around the bottom or your name at the top right or left of the screen, that is for those watching, send us a message, email, or on our Facebook page. You can get onto the channel and become involved. The join button below will join you to the membership. Newest member here on the channel, Brian Smith, just the other day. Definitely goes a long way to those who do join the channel here and keep things going and keep this free and freelance production out and ready for everyone who wants to watch it. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in, and it was very good to learn that the 23 car and Garet Williamson and Fisher trust Prime with their ride. Have you been searching for that next level upgrade? Ready to invest into something that is in it for the long haul? Well, look no further than the composited innovations provided by Prime. These customly crafted pieces are handmade by former Jason Johnson Racing car chief and Prime owner-operator Clyde Knipp. Prime Composite Innovations is located centrally in Missouri and is looking to provide that big-time performance at a fraction of that big-time price. For additional information, visit prime-composites.com today to see what they have to offer, as well as their stable of current full-time drivers that trust Prime with their ride. For the future of innovations, with the properly composited type, you can depend, move forward, and rely on Prime. Ready to rip, ready to reach. Place my bets, hey, you never know when playing on hopes what you could achieve. Making the goal, peace with the soul, don't matter the bottom with what you believe. Cause if
I'm taking it all in the calling is harder with nothing that's harder than free. Not giving up, no, don't trip, gotta go. Take a slip, make a pass on the low. Put it down on the gas for a show. Slide a pass on the grass for the oh. Got first, never last for the oh no. To the pass of the glass.